This is kind of a weird job. Ladder locked and loaded. Got my big boy pole saw.
Bet that the worst inflation is behind us and quarterly courts committee universal and sustainable for
Alright, it's weird, but let's get a feel for the job. Looks like this is where those little smart cars go to die. Nice Chrysler. At one point we had talked about doing kind of a crazy Indiana Jones thing where I was gonna hang down and take all these trees out, kind of all the way along the building. That didn't happen, but instead the job now is to climb up there and just kind of like top them, get them off the roof. I got the trailer over here because I think I can toss stuff down. He also wants some vinage out, and this stuff is good at growing. Just all this stuff cleaned out of here. We got like a little car share program in town. It's just, there's something just weird about bringing a ladder to a tree job. Oh, we're almost there. I was thinking if I needed to tie on, it would be either one of these air conditioners or this stack, probably the stack. Anyway, here's the treetops. Just a whole run of things. Mainly Tree of Heaven, but like I said, I thought I saw, yeah, there's some other stuff in there. Oh, there's the maple. I was saying I'm not gonna be able to top everything like way out. We're just gonna kind of get stuff off the roof and maybe pull a few things in. I can't really drop stuff in the creek. Here's like a Department of Environmental Control you gotta like work with for that kind of thing, and it's just not that kind of job. So this job got me thinking about keeping tree work weird, and if not keeping it weird all the time, at least occasionally embracing a kind of weird, offbeat job. And the deal with tree jobs is that there are kind of like these forces coming at you on the job, and this is true in other trades too. These kind of forces coming at you that are a little bit normalizing. You know, they sort of keep you from doing the weird stuff, or at least discourage weirdness. It's kind of satisfying throwing branches off the roof. And in the case of tree work, the normalizing forces, you know, and some of them are kind of big. It's like OSHA and ANSI and even ISA, the International Society of Arboriculture. Those are the guys that put out the little multiple choice tests you got to take to be a certified arborist. Now in this case, the job of the crew down below is just to keep everything tidy, cut up in the trailer so it's all, you know. Alright, so I think that's going to be kind of the goal. I'll sort of drop it a little bit lower. It's topping trees, not the best thing to do for trees, but with Tree of Heaven, the best thing to do isn't really available. Like, you cut it all down, it just comes back. Those big ISA, OSHA, ANSI forces, they just kind of encourage like certain kinds of work habits and behaviors, not really crawling around on a roof, just topping trees of heaven. You know, it's not like in the bylaws that should not happen, but you know, the normalizing forces of the big organizations, they just kind of, they encourage a certain kind of formation in the field, of the discipline or whatever tree work is. Oh, missed it. Someone's gonna have to go down there and clean that up. But then there's also these little micro normalization forces, at least I think. It's like the anti-weird mojo kind of comes out of the community itself. These are like the little forces that make it seem like hauling a chipper to every job is like the right thing to do, or the normal way to go about work. And running with the crew, that's all hierarchically arranged, where there's like different pay for different people, and some people do one kind of work on the job and other people do others, and some of that's above and some of that's below. Again, it's like these kind of like normalizing, non-weirded out practices on the job. Corner is a little bit more cleaned up. I think he said there were some vines over here he wanted down. Yeah, I'll pull those from the ground. Now a lot of that stuff seems to work out for people. Like, I'm not saying it's all bad. If we were all just looking for the weird jobs all the time, I really don't know how that would work out. But occasionally, you know, maybe on the margins or whatever, I tend to think if you take on a weird job or two, you know, some kind of offbeat stuff, it can manifest in a kind of cool experience. Because it's weird, you will encounter things you wouldn't necessarily run into. This is why you don't put in the flat roof. Like, even if you think it's gonna be good, there's always just a little puddle somewhere, a little low spot. This one, I gotta find a little shade for the old snack break. Alright, so what's the deal with the job? It's a little on the weird side. You know, it's not like tree care where you're gonna make a tree bigger, more lovely, beautiful, fuller, all that stuff. It's kind of like a tree massacre, but with tree of heaven. Everyone kind of hates those trees around here. Plus they just grow like crazy. The wood's not good. So what would be the right way to do this? Drop down, take the full trees out. But what you got to realize down there is that they're growing out of this little crack on the edge of the building. So it's not like you could stump grind or anything like that. You'd have to poison them, nuke it. That would end up in the waterway. I'm just saying, there might not be like a perfect way to do this. These trees, they're just taking over the building. I'm forgetting the name of this vine right now. It's like one invasive species attacking another, but I'll put it on the screen. It's all over the place here. Kind of pretty when it blooms and stuff, but it's a choker. It's got that like rappy-doo thing it does. I've been down to chop it up once.
The more you do it, the finer it gets.
Needs another chop. It's kind of filling. I also just took down this tree, pulled a bunch of vines down. I didn't get them all. I just can't keep piling stuff. I gotta go chop that down. It's kind of, the pile's kind of reaching the roof at this point. But it doesn't look like my truck's been stripped or robbed or anything. Alright, it's getting down to the bitter, hideous end on this one. A few more to kind of scrabbly pole saw and yank. And then these guys. And I barely have room in the trailer for this stuff, which means totally no room, but two trips would kind of ruin this job. This has got to be a one-trip job. one more load in the trailer. Can it take you? All right, big stuff's down. Just gotta pull a couple of these little scrabbly dudes. So looking back on all the cut trees and everything, I just kind of got a feeling like everything needed to be leveled off kind of at the roof line. So I kind of went back through, you know, leveled all the stumps, maybe as a way to tell myself it was all tidy and a bang up job. Alright, so that's the roof job, cleaned up, blown up. I made it clear to the owner of the building that I was only going to get the reachable stuff. I wasn't going to do Indiana Jones out over the river and get the rest of the stuff. Trailer, it's just mildly overloaded. I mean, there's a little standing water here, but there's like a full bathing area on this side. I mean, I could probably go down the road like that, but I'm thinking it needs just a little TLC. It's pretty much in there though. I mean, sure, there's like one or two stragglers. Oh yeah, this is good around here. It's not necessarily a how-to video, just a story of how I did it.